Your dog is asleep on the floor beside the couch. Everything is quiet. And then it starts. A tiny twitch in his paw, then another. His legs begin to move, this small rhythmic paddling, like he's running somewhere only he can see. His lips pull back, a muffled whimper slips out, maybe a bark that never fully forms. You look down, smile, and say the same thing everyone says. He's chasing squirrels in his dreams. Cute thought. Maybe he's running through a field. Maybe he's replaying that time he bolted after a pigeon in the park. But behavioral neuroscience and canine sleep research tell a completely different story. Your dog isn't randomly chasing imaginary animals. His brain is constructing scenarios, specific, structured, emotionally loaded scenes. And what those scenes are actually about is something most owners have never been told. Once you understand it, you'll never watch him sleep the same way again. In 2001, Matthew Wilson and Kenway Louie at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology published a groundbreaking study in the journal Neuron. They implanted tiny electrodes into the hippocampus, the brain region responsible for forming and replaying memories, of 4 rats and monitored neural activity during 2 phases, while the rats ran a circular track during the day and while they slept that night. What they found changed everything. During REM sleep, the neurons fired in structured replays of the day's experience. The correlation was so precise that researchers could reconstruct exactly where the rat would have been on the track, and whether it was running or standing still. Out of more than 40 REM episodes recorded, roughly half contained this exact neural signature of the maze. This was rats, but the canine hippocampus is structurally and functionally nearly identical. Same architecture, same memory replay mechanism. Wilson himself stated there was no neurological reason to assume dogs wouldn't do the same, and likely with even more emotional complexity, because dogs have a significantly larger prefrontal cortex relative to body size than rats. Your dog's twitching paws aren't random electrical misfires. His brain is running a detailed simulation of something that actually happened, something he saw, something he felt. But here's where it gets really interesting. In 2017, Anna Kiss and her colleagues, working across the Hungarian Academy of Sciences and Eötvös Loránd University in Budapest, published a study in Scientific Reports that provided the first evidence of sleep-dependent memory consolidation in dogs. They fitted 15 dogs with non-invasive polysomnography caps and measured brainwave activity across full sleep cycles. Dogs typically enter REM sleep about 20 minutes after falling asleep, and each REM phase lasts roughly 2 to 6 minutes. During those windows, the brain isn't idle. It's actively processing and consolidating the day's experiences. Kiss's team found that learning new commands directly altered dogs' sleep EEG spectrum. Specifically, changes in REM sleep delta and beta activity were correlated with how well the dogs performed after waking up. The dogs whose brains were most active during REM were the ones who retained the most. Your dog isn't just resting in his sleep, he's replaying and processing what happened to him during the day, and his waking life is, overwhelmingly, about one thing: you. And here's the part nobody talks about. In 2014, Gregory Burns at Emory University used fMRI scans to map what activates a dog's reward centers. He trained 12 dogs to lie perfectly still inside an MRI machine, fully awake, no sedation. No one had done this before. Burns tested how dogs' brains responded to 5 scent categories: their own scent, a familiar dog's, an unfamiliar dog's, a stranger's, and their owner's. The results were published in the journal Behavioral Processes. The owner's scent was the only stimulus that activated the caudate nucleus, the brain's reward and anticipation center. Not the familiar dog's scent, not the stranger's, not even the dog's own scent. Only the familiar human triggered that reward response. Your scent, specifically yours, occupies a unique place in your dog's neural reward system. Now combine that with what we know about sleep. If your dog's hippocampus replays and consolidates the most significant events of the day during REM, and you are neurologically the most rewarding stimulus in his entire world, the scenes he's constructing at night aren't about squirrels, they're about you. The walk you took, the way you scratched behind his ears, the moment you came home and he heard your keys. That's what's playing behind those twitching eyelids. He's not chasing imaginary animals, he's reliving you. But there's a question almost nobody thinks to ask. There's a popular belief that you should never wake a sleeping dog, and the common explanation is safety. A startled dog might snap. But in 2017, Ivailo Iochev and his team at Haute-Lorraine University published a study in Scientific Reports that completely reframes this advice. They discovered that sleep spindles, specific brainwave bursts lasting about half a second, with a frequency of 9 to 16 hertz, that occur during non-REM sleep, play a critical role in memory consolidation in dogs. The density of these spindles, how many occurred per minute, directly predicted how well the dogs retained new commands they had learned before falling asleep. More spindles per minute meant better learning. Every time your dog learns something, a command, a boundary, but also the sound of your laugh, the rhythm of your routine, the way you breathe when you're calm, that learning gets consolidated during sleep through these spindle bursts. Interrupting that process disrupts the mechanism his brain uses to hold on to the experiences that matter most. The old advice was accidentally right, but for the wrong reason. It's not about snapping. It's about protecting his brain's ability to store the moments he spent with you. Every interrupted nap is a memory that might not fully form. You didn't know that, but don't feel bad. Nobody told you. But there's one last thing, and it might be the most important part of this video. Also in 2017, Kiss and her team published another landmark study, this time in the Proceedings of the Royal Society B. They monitored 16 dogs' sleep after two types of experiences: positive social interactions, petting and ball play, and negative ones, separation, threatening approach, and the still face test, where the owner suddenly stops all interaction. The results were striking. Sleep macrostructure was markedly different between the two conditions. After negative experiences, dogs actually fell asleep faster, which sounds good until you understand why. It's a protective stress response, not relaxation. And their sleep quality was worse. The time spent in different sleep stages was redistributed, with disrupted patterns compared to sleep after positive experiences. Individual personality traits further modulated these differences. Your dog's sleep quality, the richness of his dreams, the stability of his emotional processing, is a direct reflection of the experience you gave him that day. Your presence, your voice, your calm energy gives him the neurological foundation for deep, restorative sleep. Stress and absence fragment his inner world at night. If you see him twitching peacefully, legs paddling gently, a quiet whimper that sounds almost content, that's a dog whose brain is replaying a good day, a day with you in it. But if his sleep is restless, if the twitching is sharp and frantic night after night, that could be emotional distress or pain. If the pattern persists, that's worth a conversation with your vet. But for most of you, your dog is fine. More than fine. He's asleep somewhere near you right now, and behind those closed eyes, his brain is doing something remarkable, rebuilding the moments that mattered most today. And the data is clear about what sits at the center. Not the park, not the treats, not the other dogs. You. That's not poetry, that's fMRI data, hippocampal replay, and sleep-dependent memory consolidation. The deepest mechanisms neuroscience has mapped in a non-human animal. Those twitching paws aren't random. They're the highest compliment your dog's sleeping brain knows how to give. So here's my question. What is your dog doing right now? Is he asleep? Tell me in the comments, and if he's twitching, now you know what he's dreaming about. If this changed the way you'll watch your dog sleep tonight, subscribe, because next week We're talking about why your dog sighs. Most people think it's boredom. The neuroscience says the opposite.